A new warning on President Trump's pivot in Minneapolis. It comes after he changed course, replacing Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino with Border Czar Tom Homan, and appears to have at least temporarily sidelined Kristi Noem. Here's former Trump White House counsel Ty Cobb.
The strategy from the get-go has been to, have a very disruptive, very violent, sort of terroristic campaign to unsettle Americans, and then, make what seem like changes, going from, Bovino to Homan, like a modulation, but it's not a modulation. The policy is the same. We're taking a little bit of a relief thing here, and I think the danger is, exhaling. I think people need to remain vigilant and remain cautious.
Joining me now is our friend Stephanie Grisham, former Trump White House communications director and press secretary, and former chief of staff and press secretary to First Lady Melania Trump. So my question right out of the gate to you, my friend, as a communications expert, you recognized a PR disaster in Minnesota and called on the president to pull ICE out. Do you believe the change being touted is purely cosmetic, or do you expect Tom Homan's messaging to make a difference on the streets?
Well, I think that the president he knows TV and he knows the optics. And I'm sure that he saw what was going on and knew he needed to change the narrative quite a bit. I was really happy to see that he pulled the man from Border Patrol out and put Homan in. I think it remains to be seen what's going to happen. It seems that there are still raids going on, but it does feel like the violence is ratcheting down just a titch. I know there was a very large protest, I believe, last night. It doesn't sound like there was a lot of violence there. So I'm hoping, I think I am with most of this country. We all want violent criminals off the streets, whether they are in the country legally or illegally. And I hope that we can get to that and stop leaving the people alone who have been here, who are contributing to our society, and just stop terrorizing neighborhoods and children.
Yeah. So let's take a look at Noem's messaging. It's on the killing of Alex Preddy when it first happened last Saturday, and then a couple of days ago. Let's watch.
This individual went and impeded their law enforcement operations, attacked those officers, had a weapon on him and dozens of rounds of ammunition, wishing to inflict harm on these officers, coming brandishing like that.
I know you realize that that situation was very chaotic and that we were being relayed information from on the ground from CBP agents and officers that were there. We were using the best information we had at the time. We can always do better, and we seek to do that every single day.
So what do you read into her shift in tone? Is it a big old CYA?
The short answer is absolutely. When I watched everything unfold and I saw her first interview that you just showed, talking about brandishing weapons and being tough, it reminded me it's just what you do when you work for Trump. It's an audience of one. And by golly, he sent people to Minnesota. And so we're going to make sure that anything bad that happens is not our fault. Absolutely. I'm sure she was hearing from Stephen Miller. And then when things start to go really bad, that's what you do. You CYA, as you just said, you blame other people. You remove Mr. Bovino from the scene. You put someone else new in there. This is how the Trump formula works. So this was all engineered by the president, I guarantee you. But, watching Kristi Noem speak at first and just immediately drag this poor man's name through the mud after he had been killed. And, twice now we watched them do this to poor citizens who had been killed. It made me sick, but also it's what you do in Trump world. You never admit that you guys could have done something wrong.
So President Trump publicly is defending Noem, saying she's doing a great job. But The Atlantic's Mark Leibovich says maybe Trump has figured out a way to do less firing and more marginalizing. Because New York Times reports Noem and Corey Lewandowski walked away, keeping their jobs after that 2-hour meeting they had Monday with Trump. Everyone thought she was done. What likely happened there?
Well, Corey, as you know, has been around since the very, very beginning. He was there when I started with the Trump campaign in 2015. He knows what you need to do. And I imagine that Kristi Noem is going to be keeping a low profile now. She's not going to be speaking up much. She's not going to be on TV a whole lot. And that's what you do to stay within the president's good graces after, you've done something that he feels made him look bad. So I imagine that, I'm sure the 2 hours was 30 minutes of them blaming other people, and then probably another hour and a half of the president just telling stories. And now she's going to just kind of disappear into the background and hope that, she can just keep her job. I think he's trying to not be like the first administration where there's this constant role of people coming in and out of the cabinet and senior staff.
In terms of not making him look bad, how much do you think this has to do with the midterms in November, this recalibration?
Nothing. He doesn't care about the people in the midterms. He doesn't care. He's going to be, well, we think, a lame duck president and done after this term, we think. Who knows, right? But he cares about how it looks for him and for his legacy. He does not care about the midterms and if it's hurting people who are going to be Republicans who are going to be running for office. It's an unfortunate, very selfish piece of him. As a Republican, that's hard because I feel like we're going to have a really hard time, and he should be doing everything he can to help good Republicans in the midterms. And that's just not something that he's apt to do.
But don't you think he's going to care if the Democrats take over the House and potentially the Senate, and there's nothing but investigations and pursuit of impeachment of cabinet members, if not him, on whatever charges? Wouldn't he care about that?
He would absolutely care about that for sure. But in his mind, it will just be they lost the race because they weren't strong enough. They weren't tough enough. It will be, the candidate's fault. It won't be his fault. And then he'll spend the next 2 years railing about how, unfair everything is because he didn't have good enough people to win races, and he doesn't have good enough PR people, and the Democrats are going after him. It's just going to be that same formula.
I want to remind our viewers, Stephanie, that you've said you did not vote for Trump in 2020, and you resigned, in fact, over his inaction during the January 6th Capitol riot. This week, FBI agents seized 700 boxes of ballots cast 6 years ago in Georgia. Is the White House seriously relitigating Trump's 2020 loss in that state?
I was shocked, honestly, and I don't get shocked easily anymore, Alex, but I was shocked to see that was happening. He clearly relitigates it almost every time he talks on TV. He clearly continues to say that he won that election. But to see that they're going to be wasting taxpayer time and money when our economy is hurting, when we have so much going on in these cities like Minnesota, and that is the thing, that is not why he was elected. People did not elect him to get to the bottom of an election that he lost, that has been litigated and shown, and his own people have said he lost. So I actually was surprised. It's just such a waste of time and resources, and the people of America deserve better.
Got to ask you, given what dropped this week, because you worked closely with the First Lady in the first Trump White House. She was in the spotlight this week for the Melania documentary premiere. And my question is, when you were there, she didn't appear completely interested in the limelight, right? She kind of tried to be low key and actually duck out for a lot of things. Why do you think she felt a need to do this project? Well,
it's understanding that she got paid quite handsomely. I knew when I saw that she was going to be doing this, and she's like, everybody wants to know, so I will tell them. I want to say I have not seen this documentary or mockumentary. I'm not sure what it is. I haven't seen it, but it's good. It's executive produced by her, and I guarantee that nobody will really walk away knowing a whole lot more about her. So I think it was probably financially motivated, and I mean, girl power, go her, that she got, paid as much as she did. But, I quickly looked at her Twitter or her X account before coming on, and all it's been about is promoting this documentary and when people were dying in Minnesota. And so that really disappointed me. Again, she's got such a good platform. She actually does have such a level head and can advise him so well sometimes. And, she's using it to promote this documentary that she profited on. And it's just disappointing.